Sairam, Sri Sai Charitra, Chapter 30, Drawn to Shiradi, Gagaji Vaidya of Wani, Punjabi Ramlal of Bombay. In this chapter, the story of two more devotees that were drawn to Shiradi is narrated. Preliminary. Bow to the kind Sai, who is a abode of mercy and who is affectionate towards his devotees. By his mere darshan, he does away with their fear of this bhava, samsara, and destroys their calamities. He was first Nirgun formless, but on account of the devotion of his bhaktas, he was obliged to take a form. To give liberation, self realization to the bhaktas is the mission of the saints, and for Sai, the chief of them, the mission is inevitable. Those who take refuge in his feet have all their sins destroyed, and their progress is certain. Remembering his feet, Brahmins from holy places come to him and read scriptures and chant the Gayatri mantra in his presence. We who are weak and without any merits do not know what bhakti is, but we know this much that though all other may leave us, Sai won't forsake us. Those who he favors get enormous strength, discrimination between the unreal and the real, and knowledge. Sai knows fully the desire of his devotees and fulfills the same. Hence, they get what they want and are grateful. So, we invoke him and prostrate ourselves before him. Forgetting all our faults, let him free us from all anxieties. He who, being overcome with calamities, remembers and prays others will get his mind uncalmed and pacified through his grace. This Sai, the ocean of mercy, says Hemad Band favored him, and the result of this is the present work Sai Satcharitra. Otherwise, what qualification had he and who would undertake this enterprise? But as Sai took all the responsibility, Hemad Band felt no burden nor any care about this. When the powerful light of knowledge was there to inspire his speech and pen, why should he entertain any doubt or feel any anxiety? Sai got the service in the form of this book done by him. This is due to the accumulation of his merits in the past birth, and therefore he thinks himself fortunate and blessed. The following story is not a mere tale but pure nectar. He who drinks it will realize Sai's greatness and all persiveness. Those who want to argue and criticize should not go into the go for these stories. What is wanted here is not discussion but unlimited love and devotion. Learned, devout, and faithful believers are those who consider themselves as servants of the saints will like to appreciate these stories. Others will take them to the fables. The fortunate bhaktas of Sai will find the Sai Leelas as a Kal Pataru, which fulfilling tree. Drinking this nectar of Sai Leelas will give liberation to the ignorant jiva, satisfaction to the householders, and a sadhana to the aspirants. Now to the story of this chapter. Gagaji Vaidya. There lived in Vani, Nasik districts, a man named Gagaji Vaidya. He was a priest of the goodness Sapta Shringi there. He was so much overwhelmed with adverse circumstances and calamities that the lost peace of mind and became quite restless. Under such circumstances, one evening he went into the temple of God, good God, goddess, and prayed unto her for the bottom of this heart and invoked her aid to free him from anxiety. The goddess was pleased with the devotion, and the same night appeared to him in his dream and said to him, "You go to Baba, and there your mind will become calm and composed." Gagaji was anxious to know from her who that Baba's was, but before he could get any explanation, he was awakened. Then he began to think as to who might be the Baba to whom the goddess has asked him to go. After some thinking, he resolved that in Baba's might be a Triambakeshwar Lord Shiva, so he went to holy place Triambak, Nashik district, and stayed there for 10 days. During this period, he bathed early in the morning, chanted the Rudra hymns, did the Abhishekam, pouring unceasingly fresh cold water over the pindi, and did other religious rites. But with all that, he was restless before. Then he returned to his place again, invoked the goddess most pitifully. Day night she again appeared in his dream and said, "Why did you go to Triambakeshwar in vain? I mean by Baba Shri Sai Samartha of Shiradi." The question before Gagaji now was how and when to go to Shiradi and how to see Baba. If anybody is in a real earnest to see the saints, not only the saint but God also fulfill his wish. In fact, the saint and the Anand God are one and the same. There is not at least difference between them. If anybody thinks that he will go himself and see a saint, that will be mere boast unless the saints will it. Who is able to go and see him, even if the leaf or their tree won't move without his bidding. The more anxious a bhakta is for the saint visit, the more devout and faithful he is, the more speedily, effectively in his wish satisfied to his heart content. He who invites anybody for a visit also arranges everything in his reception, and so it happened with Kagaji. Shama's vows. When Kagaji was thinking his visit to Shiradi, a guest came into him at his place to take him to Shiradi. He was no other than Shama, a very close and intimate devotee of Baba. How he came to Vani at this juncture, we shall just see. Shama was severely ill when he was very young, and his mother had taken a vow to her family goddess Saptashringi at Vani that if the son got well, she would bring and dedicate him at her feet. Then, after some years, the mother herself suffered much from ringworms on her breast. At the time, she again took another vow to the deity that if she got all right, she would offer her two silver breasts. These two vows remained unfulfilled. At the deathbed, she called her son Shama to her and drew his attention to their vows. And after taking a promise from him that he would fulfill them, she breathed her last. After some time, Shama quite forgot about these vows, and thus 30 years lapsed. About this time, a famous astrologer had come to Shiradi and stayed there for a month. His predictions in the case Shriman Bhuti and others came true, and everybody was satisfied. Shama's younger brother Babaji consulted him and was told that his mother vows, which his elder brother promised to fulfill at their deathbed, were not yet fulfilled. Hence, the goddess was displeased with them and bring troubles for them. Babaji told his to his brother Shama, who was reminded to the unfulfilled vows, thinking that any further delay would be dangerous. He called the goldsmith and got a pair of silver breasts prepared. Then he went to masjid, prostrated him before Baba, and placing before him to the two silver breath, requested him to accept them and free him from the vows, and he was to him to Saptashringi goddess. Then Baba insisted upon him to himself to the temple of Saptashringi and offered them in person at the feet of the goddess. After taking Baba's permission and Udi, he left from Vani and searching for the priest came to Gagaji's house. Gagaji was then very anxious to visit Baba, and Shama went there to see him at the very time. What a very wonderful coincidence in this. Gagaji asked him who he was and when he had come, and on learning that he came from Shiradi, he at once embraced him, so overpowered was he with love. Then they talked about Sai Leelas. After finishing the rites of Shama's vows, they both started for Shiradi. On reaching the place, Gagaji went to masjid and fell at Baba's feet. His eyes were soon bedewed with tears and his mind attained calmness. According to the vision of the goddess, no sooner did he see Baba that his mind lost all his restlessness and he became calm and composed. Gagaji began to think in this mind, what a wonderful power in this. Baba spoke nothing, there was no question and answer, no benediction pronounced. The mere darshana itself was so conducive to happiness, and restless of my mind disappeared by his mere darshan. Consciousness of joy came upon me. This is what is called the greatness of darshan. His vision was fixed on Sai's feet, and he could utter no word. Hearing Baba's Leelas, his joy knew to bounds. He surrendered himself completely to Baba, forget his anxiety and cares, and got undiluted happiness. He lived happily there for 12 days, and after taking Baba's leave, Udi and blessings returned home. Kushal Chand of Rahada. It is said that a dream which we get in the small hours of morning generally comes out true in the waking state. This may be so, but regarding Baba's dream, there is no restriction of time. The quote an instance. Baba of Gaga Sahib Dikshit one afternoon to go to Rahada and fetch Kushal Chand to Shiradi, and he had not seen him since long. Gaga Sahib accordingly looked at Tanga and went to Rahada. He saw Kushal Chand and gave him Baba's message. Hearing it, Kushal Chand was surprised and said that he was taking a noon nap after meals when Baba appeared in his dream and asked him to come to Shiradi immediately, and that he was anxious to go. As he had no horse of his own nearby, he had sent his son to inform Baba. When his son was just out of village border, Dikshit Tanga turned Dikshit and said that he was sent specially to bring him. Then they both went in Tanga back to Shiradi. Kushal Chand saw Baba and all were pleased seeing his Leela of Baba. Kushal Chand was much moved. Punjabi Ramlal of Bombay. Once a Punjabi Brahmin of Bombay named Ramlal got a dream in which Baba appeared and asked him to come to Shiradi. Baba appeared to him the Mahant saint, but he did not know his whereabouts. He thought that he should go and see him, but as he knew not his address, he did not know what to do. But he who calls anybody for an interview makes necessary arrangements for the same. The same happened in this case. The same afternoon, when he was strolling in the streets, he was a picture of Baba and this shop. The features of Mahant he saw in his dream exactly tallied with those of picture. Then making enquiries, he came to know that the picture was Sai Baba of Shiradi. He then went soon after to Shiradi and stayed there till his death. In this way, Baba brought his devotees Shiradi for darshan and satisfied their wants, materials as well as spiritual. Bow to Sri Sai and peace to be all. Thank you.